Hunting for a cop killer. 2 police officers ambushed in their patrol car. Only 1 survived. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Michael.
And I'm Susan Hirosuna.
Their colleagues are calling it barbaric. 2 anti-gang officers shot in cold blood, apparently with no provocation. Police have been all over the neighborhood all day. Jane Yamamoto is live. She's in Long Beach with the very latest. Jane.
Well, Jeff, we are at Long Beach Memorial Hospital. It is here where 41-year-old officer Rick Delphin remains in good condition. He's in the intensive care unit. His partner, 33-year-old Daryl Black, was gunned down, died early this morning, marking the first time in 25 years for a Long Beach police officer to be killed in the line of duty.
Last night at about 11 o'clock, we had 2 of our Long Beach gang officers.
Long Beach Police Chief Jerome Lance fights back his emotions, talking about the deadly, possible ambush-style killing of 33-year-old officer Daryl Black. His 41-year-old partner, Officer Rick Delphin, suffered a gunshot wound to the leg and fragments to the head. Also caught in the crossfire, a 45-year-old woman, 7 months pregnant. She was shot inside her house across the street from the scene. Police say the 2 anti-gang officers were in this car patrolling the 1900 block of Lime Avenue when they were hit with a hail of gunfire, reportedly from an automatic weapon, around 11 o'clock Saturday night. An eyewitness says he saw 3 Hispanic men open fire on the officers.
The police car was rolling up behind, and as the police got almost even with the car, they opened fire up on the car, so the police never had a chance.
Investigators spent much of Sunday collecting evidence. It's still unknown what set off the shooting. Police say the officers did not return fire.
He was a professional, had a great career ahead of him because of the way he did his job.
Officer Daryl Black, a 6-year veteran of the Long Beach Police Department, was not married and had spent 4 years as an Orange County Sheriff's deputy before joining the police force. His family members living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, say he was a dedicated officer.
He was a good officer. I'm not saying that just because he's my brother. He's the type that, you know, you would want protecting your city, and he was honest.
And tonight, still no suspect or suspects. Long Beach police have set up a hotline number. You see the number on your screen, 1-877-636-3300. Anyone with information that could help police should call. And tonight, police still have no motive, but they have not ruled out the possibility of some sort of retaliation in relation to a gang shooting that occurred in Long Beach 2 days ago. Once again, the officer here in good condition tonight. Live in Long Beach, I'm Jane Yamamoto. Fox 11 News will send it back to you.
Thank you, Jane, for that. A Panorama City woman caught in the middle of a possible gang shooting is struggling to survive tonight. Al Naipo is live in Northridge with the latest. Al?
Susan, we're outside the LAPD's Devonshire station where tonight the search is on for the suspects. The victim, Maria Quijada, is in critical but stable condition. Neighbors say she stepped outside her home to close a gate, and at that moment, gunfire rang out. Suddenly, Maria Quijada fell to the driveway, bleeding from a gunshot wound. Residents say violence of this sort is rare, at least on this block of Willis in Panorama City.
Quiet place, you know, it's only like traffic, something like that, but it's not like a gang.
At least not until last night.
Yeah.
Police say it was just before midnight, across the street from Maria Quijada's home. A group of men were seated outside an apartment building when another group of men, thought to be gang members, confronted them. Investigators say the alleged gang members challenged the other men who tried to flee. That's when someone pulled out a gun and started firing. One bullet struck Quijada. She apparently was the only person hit. Neighbors heard the shots, but thought it was best to stay inside.
Dangerous, you know, they come out, maybe they come back and shoot again or something like that. Come out.
Police believe there were 4 suspects in their early to mid-20s dressed in possible gang attire. They apparently fled in a gray 1983 Datsun 280ZX. And police say anyone with any information is urged to contact the LAPD's Devonshire station. Reporting live from Northridge, I'm Al Naipo. Now back to you, Susan.
Paul, a very dramatic story here. A robbery attempt at a South Central Los Angeles convenience store has been foiled with deadly force. The incident took place late last night at the AM/PM mini market at the corner of Century and Figueroa. The suspects, who were armed with a sawed-off shotgun, can be seen on the lower screen of this security videotape as they enter the store to buy a beer. But it was merely a ploy to get the clerk to open his register. Seconds later, with only an innocent bystander on camera, the robbers demanded the money.
Leave that open. Leave that open. Leave it open. Open the cash. Okay. Open the cash. Open it. Open the cash. Open it. Open the cash. Okay. Oh, now.
At that point, a second clerk sneaked up on the suspects, pulled out a .38 caliber handgun, and opened fire.
Sit down. Stoop down. Stoop down. Stoop down. All right. I'm down, man. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. Stay there. Stay. God damn it, stay.
Suspect died at the scene, the other a short time later at the hospital. Police say both men had extensive criminal records. Ironically, this was the second robbery attempt at the market in as many days. However, this time, the robbers paid with their lives. Paul.
A Boston teenager charged with killing a high school honor student is locked up tonight. Anthony Robinson pleaded not guilty today. 17-year-old is accused of gunning down Barrington Nevins last month. Prosecutors say Robinson shot Nevins for his leather jacket. They say Robinson has confessed to the murder. Another teenage suspect has also been arrested.
A 22-hour standoff is over, and a Chicago cop is under arrest tonight, charged in a series of sexual assaults. Detective John Somerville barricaded himself inside his Northside home yesterday. He surrendered to his partner just before noon today. Police say Somerville, a 16-year veteran on the force, attacked women during late-night traffic stops.
We brought the victims in and we showed them photo displays of all of the detectives we have in the police department, and two of those victims were very precise in identifying Officer Somerville as their attacker.
Somerville faces charges of sexual assault, kidnapping, unlawful restraint, and official misconduct. He has been relieved of his police duties.
A 23-year-old Waukegan man is in jail tonight, charged with the murder of a North Chicago college student. Mario Tennyson was flown here last night from Georgia, where he was arrested yesterday, or rather on Wednesday. Tennyson is accused of strangling 21-year-old Anna Beverly in her North Chicago home earlier this week. Police in Georgia recovered Beverly's car and some of her jewelry. They believe robbery was the motive for the killing. Tennyson is being held tonight on $750,000 bond.
More than $250,000 in jewelry. That was the target of a robbery this afternoon at the St. Francis Hotel on Union Square. The victim, a jewelry salesman who told police he was leaving his hotel room when two men accosted him, forced him back into the room, where they then relieved him of more than 20 pounds of gold chains, more than 200 rings and earrings, and two huge diamonds, one 15 carats, the other a dazzling 32 carats. $236,000 in all in gold and jewels, says the salesman, and the bad guys who did it are still very much at large. In the
guns. From behind the chair, the National Assembly's Sergeant-at-Arms René Jalbert appears. Jalbert is as calm as Lortie is agitated. Lortie has fired into the empty seats on the government side of the House, counting to find the seat of then Premier René Lévesque. Jalbert tells Lortie that on some days the National Assembly does sit in the morning, but on this day, Denis Lortie is 4 hours too early. Jalbert testified he was trying to establish a soldier-to-soldier relationship with Lortie. 4 minutes later, the relationship is established. Lortie tells Jalbert he respects him. Although there are no politicians, there are Assembly employees trapped in the chamber. Lortie lets two of them go. Jalbert persuades Lortie to allow everyone to leave the room. Jalbert goes to the door, but only to get coffee. The two men talk, so softly that the microphones can't pick up their conversation. 40 minutes after he arrives, Jalbert is in control. Lortie agrees to go to Jalbert's office. He'll surrender there about 3 hours later.
Talk about cool. Well, Lortie was sentenced to life in prison today, and Jalbert was awarded the Cross of Valor. That is Canada's highest award for bravery.
The Canadian government released that last night. We've seen it 2 or 3 times now. It's just an extraordinary sequence. The coolest man under fire that you can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, next.
And a burglary suspect led police on a wild chase through traffic in Van Nuys this afternoon. Racing along Satakoy Street, the suspect's car smashed into two other vehicles, but even the accident didn't stop the suspect then. He dashed from the car, ran across the street to a shopping area, finally taking refuge in a small grocery store and trying to hide out in the frozen food section. Police were right behind, though. They surrounded the store and they went in, found him, and arrested him without further trouble.
A Queens teenager will be enjoying his freedom on Independence Day. Franklin Bruce was arrested for a murder he insists he did not commit, and he has now been released from jail. Channel 2's Mike Taibbi has been following the story, and tonight he has the latest.
Since Saturday morning of the long Independence weekend, Franklin Bruce has been free to stand in his Queens Village doorway and talk to friends, or not talk, if that was his choice. For more than 8 months before that, he was an inmate on Rikers Island, awaiting trial for the April 1994 murder of Ishnan Shakur, whose street name was Fish. But 2 weeks ago, we reported that two of Bruce's ex-girlfriends, the only witnesses against him, recanted their sworn grand jury testimony that Bruce had admitted the murder to both of them. The recantations were caught on tape in mid-May by a private eye named Myron Cherry, who's been hired by Bruce's lawyer.
Did Franklin tell you?
No, Franklin didn't tell me nothing.
Did he tell you that he killed Fish? Did he ever take you to a location where Fish was shot?
No.
Did he ever tell you he killed anyone?
No.
He never told you that he killed anyone.
2 days after our story, the assistant DA in the case, Richard Schaefer, said our report was accurate and he could not go to trial with his two lying witnesses. But he said that after the recantations, Queens detectives found 3 witnesses who said Bruce had fired a gunshot that grazed the arm of another Queens man, who we only know as Billy, a week before the murder of Ishnan Shakur, a totally separate crime. It took 2 lineups last week before one of the 3 witnesses identified Bruce as the shooter. Now, Bruce is free on the murder case on low bail raised by his mother, while the DA waits to go to a grand jury with a thin case in the attempted murder of Billy. Bruce says he did not shoot Billy any more than he shot Fish.
You basically the same as the other one.
Yeah.
They just sprung both of them up on me.
He hedged on a key question I'd pressed in the jailhouse interview. But I asked you on camera, did you ever have a gun? And your answer was, and your answer now is what? You never had a gun.
Not mine.
Did you ever have anybody else's gun? But he said again he'd take a lie detector test, that he did not commit either crime, and talked about his return home. Is it fair to say that you're out of jail right now, but you don't feel completely free?
I don't. That's what it should say that. I don't feel completely free. No? I don't know what's going to happen next.
Sources tell us the attempted murder case against Franklin Bruce will be presented to a Queens grand jury next Monday. Bruce, who has no criminal record of any kind, tells us he wants to testify before that grand jury, without immunity, of course, and deny any involvement. Mike Taibbi, Channel 2 News.
3 days after Andrew swept through southern Florida, an estimated 180,000 people are still homeless. A dawn to dusk curfew is still in effect, and 200 people have already been arrested for looting.
No, not every man for himself, every family for themselves.
Yeah, they got TVs and everything. What's that telephone for? Where'd that come from? Most of these people are stealing, stereos, VCR, TVs and stuff. When they're stealing food and stuff, we mostly give them a break.
I'm hungry, sir. I don't have no candles, no money, no nothing for my foster kids, sir. So you're trying to find somewhere to buy some candles or something for my kids, sir.
Food in Dade County is in short supply, and there are long lines for ice, gas, and just about every other daily necessity. Damage is estimated between $15 and $20 billion, and if that figure holds, this will be the costliest disaster in U.S. history.
Came from in New York. A woman is accused of using her young children as prostitutes just to support her own drug habit. It reportedly happened in a mobile home in Long Island. Police say a woman who lived there was hooked on crack and needed money bad. They say she exploited her young daughters, selling them as prostitutes. Their ages 2, 4, and 6 years old. The mother has been arrested. So have 3 men who allegedly paid to have sex with the children.
A mass murder-suicide has Texas police cleaning up a gruesome crime scene tonight. A Houston father took pictures of his kids, and then he shot them all in the head. One by one, police put the bodies of 4 kids into a hearse. Their father killed them all, then turned the gun on himself.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Police say the 42-year-old man took pictures of the kids at the dinner table last night. A person who saw those pictures said the youngest, only 7, looked scared. The father lined them up behind the dining room table and shot each one, execution style. Police say one of the girls was found with her arms still clutching her sister. The apartment manager says the Vietnamese family lived there quietly for more than 4 years.
I know that he was out of a job for a while, then he got a job back. Watched his daughter come back forth to school all the time, and it was a shock to me.
Eddie Lee Taylor lives next door. He heard the gunshots and called police. He says one of the bullets just missed his year-old nephew.
The last gunshot come through the wall and went underneath the television and just stopped. It scared me.
Police found a note written in Vietnamese next to the bodies. They aren't saying what was in it, but the message the father left behind was graphically clear. Tonight, police still have not released the names of the victims, and there is no word on the whereabouts of the mother.
A drive-by shooting took the life of a baby girl today, a tragic but increasingly familiar scenario in south central LA where it happened. Bob Navarro has further details.
19-year-old Michael Haley was driving his baby, 18-month-old Sabrina Haley, to his father's house this morning. He was stopped at a light at 48th and Avalon when 2 men pulled alongside. For neighbors, it was a familiar sound.
There were a lot of shots.
How many?
I'd say maybe 8 or 10.
When the shooting stopped, the baby was mortally wounded. Police say the shooting was gang-related, and they're asking for help in locating a 1978 Monte Carlo that stands out.
Uniqueness comes where there are several small holes that will, what they actually are slide handle holes used in auto bodywork. But it could also resemble that of a shotgun pattern. They're very similar in appearance. This vehicle, the remainder of this vehicle, is also that chocolate-colored brown.
Police investigators have offered complete confidentiality, even anonymity, for anybody who steps forward with any information. In central Los Angeles, Bob Navarro, Channel 5, News at 10.
You've all seen the videotape of the narcotics busts on television where the cops come bursting in with their jumpsuits and jackets, yelling, "Hit the floor," breaking down doors. It seems very dramatic, maybe even a little brutal.
It's terrifying. I guarantee you will freeze what you're doing. We have to have some intelligence on the people that are in the house, whether they have weapons or not. Hundreds and hundreds of weapons are confiscated. When the officers leave the station or the detail, they're constantly thinking of what may happen when they get there.
Open the door, comes down! Is it necessary? Well, it certainly is in the eyes of the narcotics cops who know what often waits for them on the other side of those doors, like this 30-shot Uzi automatic with the operational silencer.
That is the sole reason for that dramatic stuff. Like you said, if you're on the other side of the door and you're a crook, I guarantee you will freeze what you're doing.
That dramatic entry may save his life as well as one of your lives.
That's correct.
All of the weapons you see here, handguns, Uzis, AR-15s, and other automatic weapons, were seized by San Francisco narcotics officers in just 3 cases. 12 shots. 12 gauge, 12 shots. It's a sickening display of killing power. 40 rounds. The effectiveness of drug supply interruption is hard to measure, partly because we don't know what the situation would be if there were no efforts to slow the flow. We do know this about supply, a pretty simple equation. When there's more of the stuff around, people use more of it.
The lieutenant says his burglary prevention unit's aware of several other areas in San Jose where criminals are trying to take over whole neighborhoods. He says his men are ready to move in and to clean them out as well. Last night, Channel 7's Lee McCarran outlined a new and disturbing development in the long-running saga of Felix Mitchell. Mitchell was the Oakland drug lord who operated the so-called 69 mob, tried and convicted and sentenced for assorted crimes. A few weeks ago, he was murdered. Of course, these are scenes from the funeral that shocked so many people around Oakland and the rest of the country. But at the time of his death, Felix Mitchell's case was on appeal, and a federal law known as the rule of abatement apparently means that Mitchell will be declared innocent in the eyes of the law. The ruling says when a person dies before his appeal is actually heard, the guilty verdict is vacated, thrown out. What has federal prosecutors concerned is that the profits of Mitchell's dealings, his estate, may have to be returned to Mitchell's heirs eventually. They're being held by the government now. Tonight we have Felix Mitchell's court-appointed attorney with us, and we're going to take a look at the law that most of us probably did not know existed at all. Phil Cherney, I think if we are not getting it, we have some difficulty? Something called the rule of abatement. Essentially what has federal prosecutors concerned here is they say that because his case was in appeal when in fact he was killed at Leavenworth Federal Prison, they may in fact have to throw out the conviction that originally sent him to that prison, and his attorney, Phil Cherney, is with us now to talk a bit about that. We're sorry about the difficulties we had, Mr. Cherney. This is one of those cases that people will look at, most folks, and say, here's another of those insane laws that appears to make a man innocent when in fact the jury decided he was guilty. Comment on that if you would, first of all.
Well, maybe the appearance of innocence is one way of looking at it, but I think that what most people don't understand is the two-stage process in our criminal proceedings that allows the procedure to continue through until finality, which doesn't occur until a review as a matter of right has occurred. So it's a two-stage process.
And you have filed papers in this case, that is to vacate the guilty verdict, is that correct?
Well, I have filed a motion to dismiss the appeal, which is a standard practice in the case of death.
Are you trying to clear Felix Mitchell's name in this case?
Well, it's a difficult question to answer. I think one of the difficulties in answering that question is that because we were not allowed to continue with the appeal, or apparently we are not, a serious question of double jeopardy law was not answered by the Court of Appeals.
But again, that is a legal point, a technicality as people would call it, and not based on guilt or innocence of Felix Mitchell, is it?
It's a constitutional right, very fundamental in the Fifth Amendment.
Will you continue this through and expect the full abatement, that is, that his estate, however it stands, would be returned?
I expect a dismissal to occur, and as a matter of law, as an operation of law, the abatement will occur. What happens to that property, I'm not prepared to comment on at this time.
Sir, could you talk about the worth of that property? Because I know people have tried to find out, and you certainly would know better than anybody else.
Well, I'm not so sure that I do know better than anyone else, but I think it's a matter, at this point, that is speculation. And I think the federal government knows better than anyone to answer your question what the value of that property is, and I believe that there should be an accounting after this procedure is completed.
Phil Cherney, and that is Felix Mitchell's attorney. And I ought to point out here, thank you by the way, I should point out that he is a court-appointed attorney for those people who make judgments about such things. It is important to point that out. He is carrying this through as the law says he should carry it through. So we'll just have to see where it goes.
That's true, although there are other laws which may come into play here, which will be interesting to follow up on.
That's right.
Cash and the drugs. 2 days ago, the task force scored on a big bus with these 187 kilos of cocaine. No weapons have turned up, though. Chief Robert Norman tells why.
That the people that we have found were quite trusted members of the ring, and that the information as to where the safe houses were kept to an absolute minimum number of people. And because of that, there was not the threat for rip-offs.
Early this morning, detectives searched 2 San Mateo homes, one in San Francisco and this one in Foster City. 5 used kilo wrappers were found here. The packaging is distinctive. Its trademark a picture of Muammar Gaddafi. Federal drug agents think it may have nothing to do with Gaddafi, but a way for dealers to mark and track the cocaine's distribution. According to one investigator, similarly wrapped drugs have appeared in Miami as well as Los Angeles and New Mexico. Task force investigators say they traced back the rental records and found out that the 5 homes they recently raided were all rented by the same 2 Colombian men. It appears that the drug operation moved into the peninsula area around June the 30th. Police believe San Jose's coke bust yesterday is possibly connected to the ring. Where the entire investigation is going to lead to or where it will end is still up in the air.
We have arrested 16 people in connection with the investigation from the outset, but you're not dealing with just one stream of connections. You're going out into several different areas.
These two Colombian suspects and maybe others will be turned over to the feds for prosecution. One detective claims there could be up to 20 more arrests. In San Mateo County, Sherry Hu, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Drug agents here in the Bay Area are turning over the cash seized today to federal authorities. However, the local police agencies involved may eventually get back up to 90% of that money to be used for future undercover drug buys.
Money and drugs. A huge bust today in San Jose. Police in San Jose and federal agents seizing 3.5 pounds of cocaine, $2.3 million in cash. One man was arrested in the bust, 36-year-old James Eisner. Tonight he is being held on drug charges. Police discovered the money and the coke while serving search warrants at 6417 S'more Drive in San Jose. The money was stuffed in cardboard boxes found in 2 cars there. Police say the bust is a result of a 2-month investigation and more arrests are expected. On the peninsula, 2 people arrested in a huge cocaine bust are facing trial now. Both suspects are illegal aliens from South America. Today's hearing was for Luis Martinez Mejia from Peru. He was picked up Monday after allegedly selling 22 pounds of cocaine to undercover officers. Bail was set at $1 million, and Mejia will be back in court tomorrow to enter a plea. The other suspect in the case is a woman from Colombia who was arrested yesterday at a condominium in Foster City. When the police searched that condo, they found almost 400 pounds of cocaine worth $30 million. Many of the bundles were marked with pictures of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, and investigators still don't know if those pictures have any special meaning. Prosecutors say they will seek federal indictments against the suspects. Federal charges carry a stiffer penalty than state ones.
Meanwhile, a year-long undercover sting operation was proclaimed a wild success by San Francisco police today. Officers, in fact, arrested 153 suspects for allegedly selling stolen goods to the cops at a Mission District store. Police say that they were amazed at the array of stolen merchandise.
Stereos, or VCRs, or cameras, or guns, or credit cards. We had one gentleman who sold us Cadillacs.
The operation worked out of this storefront on Mission Street. Officers Bill Langley of the SFPD and Bob Blazer, a Daly City detective, bought whatever people brought in and recorded the transactions on videotape. They even advertised. In 1 year, they bought $1.6 million worth of merchandise, some for incredibly low prices.
Like Monday, I bought an 87 Cadillac 4-door sedan with 22,000 miles on it, stolen. I bought it for $150.
That was just one of the 24 stolen cars the officers purchased. One suspect even brought in a roofing truck, complete with supplies. The scam worked so well that even when they were arrested, the suspects didn't suspect.
We had a gentleman who was in jail, and we were his closest friends, where he called us for bail.
One of the suspects arrested, I should say, in the sting operation was a former San Francisco police officer. Police say he was fired from the force in 1984 for alleged drug abuse.
Bond in what police believe was an act of retaliation against the residents who cooperated with the police. News Center 4's Linda Yee reports.
Police say 3 Molotov cocktails were thrown, 2 into a window which set the living room rug on fire. A third one left the front door in flames. Susan Finnegan and her family were asleep.
I got up and I saw the front door here was really on fire because one of the cocktails landed outside the door.
Finnegan is one of many neighbors who in recent months have helped police identify drug dealers in the area. Nearby Dolores Park is a hotbed of suspicious activity. On any given day, drug dealers openly sell marijuana and cocaine. Neighbors fed up with the dealing have declared war. Finnegan says she's paying for it.
I think it's retaliation.
Because you always report drug activity in your neighborhood?
I and many people around here do, but yeah, there was one incident the other day that I think just provoked it.
Because of the firebombing, Finnegan will have 24-hour police protection, and officers plan to step up their patrols of the park.
When we see people just loitering around or, doing things that are related to narcotics activity, stopping them, finding out who they are, yeah, that type of stuff.
But they admit it won't be easy. Police say they are frustrated too. They recently arrested 30 people in a drug sweep of the park, but within a half an hour, 30 others replaced them. Finnegan says she's not being scared off, but because she's a daycare operator, she'll have to move. Neighbors were shocked at the boldness of the attack, and they were mad. Does this deter you then from trying to work actively against drug dealing?
No, it makes me really angry that my neighbor gets, violence against them and that they, might have to leave.
Neighbors say they'll stay and fight. In San Francisco, Linda Yee, News Center 4.
Because of crack cocaine sales, 8th Avenue is a danger zone. It's a new tactic in the war on drugs.
We're trying to intimidate the sellers and the buyers.
Street sales of crack, a potent form of cocaine, is rampant throughout Florida as well as other parts of the country.
Hands on the wall. Do it now.
Law officers have been arresting suspected crack dealers and their alleged clients. But undercover drug buys and drug raids have failed to shut down crack sales. Residents in neighborhoods taken over by drug dealers complain they are not safe.
People's house been broken into, people been shot, people been robbed.
The tactic of warning motorists has been tried in the small Florida town of Boynton Beach. Police there say it was effective. Now, in Fort Lauderdale, police not only issue warnings, but take license numbers and send letters to car owners advising them their vehicles have been driven through a known drug area. Some of the notices could end up in the hands of spouses, parents, or employers.
The American Civil Liberties Union here in Florida calls the police action on 8th Avenue an unconstitutional invasion of privacy, a Big Brother act that they say is not a solution to the drug problem here. Jim Kazurski, NBC News, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Including 16 current and former Pan Am employees. The passenger service agents are accused of bypassing customs in Brazil and the U.S. to bring more than $1 billion worth of cocaine into the U.S. over a half dozen years. Accused Colombian drug king Carlos later is being moved to a federal prison in Atlanta. A U.S. magistrate in Jacksonville, Florida, ordered the move yesterday. It's designed to make it less difficult for defense attorneys to prepare their case. Later is accused of being the key figure in a drug ring responsible for much of the cocaine imported into this country.
Hundreds of street gang members gathered today in downtown Los Angeles for a ceremony marking a countywide peace treaty. Many gangs have pledged to keep peace throughout the holiday season. There have been at least 178 gang killings in Los Angeles so far this year. Miami Vice star Edward James Olmos invoked the crowd as they were being searched for weapons.
I'm so strong, man. I don't have to prove myself to nobody anymore. I don't have to kill my brother to show how bad I am. I don't have to do that anymore. I won't put down my gun.
54 gangs are joining in the so-called Season of Peace, and city leaders are hoping the truce will become permanent.
Robbers have targeted yet another Las Vegas casino. The second heist since Monday took place early this morning at the Pacific Station Hotel. Police say two men approached a cashier's cage inside the casino and asked for change. One of the suspects then pulled a gun and demanded money from the cashier. Security guards pursued the robbers, who jumped into a getaway car with two other people inside. The car was abandoned a few blocks away, and the robbers managed to escape. Meanwhile, there may be a break tonight in Monday's robbery at the Stardust Hotel. Police have raided an apartment near the Vegas Strip and are now questioning two men in connection with that $1,100,000 robbery.